Hello. So today's video is going to be about something that I wasn't sure whether or not I should even make this video because it's probably not going to be what you think it's going to be about. It's about my anxiety about the upcoming gastric bypass surgery that I'm having. So the anxiety isn't about the surgery itself. I'm not nervous to have surgery. I've had surgery before. I've done well with anesthesia. The only thing I'm a little nervous about is the pain afterwards, but I feel pretty confident that that will be handled. I suffer from anxiety, and it's like actually diagnosed. I suffer from anxiety. I don't take medication for anxiety. I have done counseling off and on since I was 16 years old, and along the ways I have developed a lot of coping mechanisms, and they generally work pretty well. So I'm not like totally freaking out, like, oh my God, sitting up at night thinking about this, but one of the things that helps me is to get out what is going on in my head. So I thought this would be a good way to get it out. So I have kind of an issue with control, and not in a bad way, as in everything has to be my way, and not like that, but I need to know what is the plan, what is going on, everything from step 1, 2, 3, 4, all my ducks need to be in a row, or I kind of obsess about it a little bit until I have a plan in place. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this needs to get done, that needs to get done, and my tires spin until I have that plan in place. So this is what I'm dealing with. First of all, every day I take my daughter to and from school. My daughter does not drive. She is in beauty school to become a cosmetologist, and that's Monday through Friday full time, and I take her and I pick her up because she doesn't drive. So right now it's the transportation thing that we're working out. I think it's pretty much working out. It looks like her boyfriend is going to be able to take her and pick her up, and there was just a couple snafus with that. He had to get some work done on his car, but the majority of that work is done. So it looks like that's coming together, and my mom is a maybe backup just depending on her work schedule. So I'm nervous, but not overly nervous about how she's going to get back and forth to school. Another thing is, I have a son who has autism, and his is very high functional, but let me explain a couple little things about what's gone on over the past like 2 years as far as school for him. 2 years ago, I took him out of school to homeschool because he was having really major issues with coping with the stress of the classroom environment. And then I have to say his school has been, I could not ask for a better school system when it comes to helping me deal with this child who is not a neurotypical child. They have bent over backwards to help me and just have been great along the way. So during this time, my son was in counseling, and his counselor and I talked about maybe him doing a half a day at school and a half a day homeschooled. So he went in and he didn't do a half day. He only did 2 subjects. He did English and I'm trying to remember. English and math, I think it was at school, and then at home I was doing science and social studies. And then we altered that a little bit to where he was doing 2 subjects at school, and then he was doing what was called homebound, where we met with the teacher at the local library and he did the other 2. Not that I couldn't homeschool him that was actually not a bad time. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I actually kind of enjoyed it. But I know that socialization is really a factor for kids with autism. So during all of this, when we were integrating him back into school, he was not riding the school bus because of his altered schedule. They would have provided transportation, but I really honestly thought it would be in his best interest for me to provide the transportation, because mornings, if he has become really overwhelmed with like sounds and just a lot going on, then he tends to have a harder time with the classroom. So I thought, if I take him to school, you know, we'll have a nice quiet ride and he won't be overstimulated by the time we get there. And so it was just, it worked. And luckily I was able to work my work schedule around all of that. The main reason I've stayed with the company that I'm with for such a long time is because they really work with what I need to do, as far as, like, I pretty much make my own schedule. If I want to work 40 hours this week, I work 40 hours this week. If I want to work 20 hours next week, I can do that. If I want to take a week off for vacation, or because I'm having bariatric surgery, or because I messed up my ankle, I can do that, and there's no repercussions. So back to everything. Where was I at? Okay, I was taking him to and from school. He did really well with that. And then the next year we reintegrated him full-time, except for PE, because PE was a trigger for him. Everything going on, the sounds, the smells, and the cafeteria was difficult for him too. Sometimes the teacher would take him out and let him eat in her room during lunch if he seemed like he was really agitated, and she was very, very good. These teachers have been really, with the exception of one, have been honestly a godsend as far as having a child that is not neurotypical. But anyways, back to everything. This year he is in school full-time and he is doing excellent, all A's, 1B, and he is riding the bus home, which is a big deal. But he's going to have to start riding the bus in the morning, and that is anxiety for me, because I won't be able to drive him, probably at least for a week while I'm on the pain medication. And honestly, he'll do fine. In my heart of hearts, I know he'll do fine, because he's come such a long way between counseling and all of the rehab services and the things that the school has done with him. He really, really has come a long way. I'm proud of him. But there's that little thing in the back of my head, and I'm sure this happens with everyone that has a child that is on the spectrum and maybe has, you know, issues like this, like with the transportation and the sights and the sounds and the smells and just everything. There's that little in the back of my head, what if him taking the bus in the morning is going to cause him to melt down, which he has not done in so long that, and even when he does it, he does one of two things. He either rages, but it's more verbal than anything, or he just completely shuts down and he won't speak to anyone, he won't make eye contact, you know, all this kind of stuff. If you've ever dealt with an autistic kid, you've probably seen one or two episodes like this. So that's my thought. What if he melts down at school and mama's laid up in bed and she can't go get him? The reality is my mom could go get him, or someone else could go get him, or, you know, they would probably take him to the counselor, and the counselor is fully aware of everything as far as his diagnosis. So I know the world doesn't center around me, and my kids are gonna be okay. If I need to be laid up for a week or two taking my pain medication and you know, doing my sips and getting my water in, and if I get dehydrated and I have to go get an IV, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. But my anxiety is like, oh, my babies, I'm nervous, and I'm not nervous for me. I'm nervous for every bit of responsibility that I have to take care of on a daily basis, and not being the person that takes care of it, relying on other people. And that's really hard, especially when you're a single parent and you're used to doing everything yourself. And even though I have a village around me of people who love and support me and will do everything that they can to help me, this is what I'm nervous about. I'm nervous about being able to go back to work. If you've watched any of my recent videos, you know that I cracked a bone in my ankle and sprained like the muscles or ligaments or something around it. Basically, my ankle swelled up to like 3 times the size that it should be, and I have been in an ortho boot. So I've already been out of work for 2 weeks that I had not planned to be out. And then I'll be out because of the type of work that I do. I can't go back for 6 more weeks. So this will be 2 months of me being out of work that I had not planned on. But the reality is that I'm very responsible with my bills, so I'm not behind on a bunch of things, just like 1 or 2 little things that I'm going to catch up. And I do have some other income that will take care of things, and I have some savings that I had in place knowing that I was going to be having surgery. So this adulting thing sucks. Knowing that you have bills and things to take care of and other people to take care of, and woosah, it's gonna be all right. So my anxiety is not about surgery. It's about all of the responsibilities and things that I normally deal with and take care of, and having to sit back and know that the world will go on without me. So that is what I'm nervous about. Y'all tell me, what were you nervous about? What are you nervous about if you haven't had your surgery yet? Just, you know, share some funny stories with me if you want to about things that happened after your surgery that you weren't expecting or whatever. Just, you know, comment below. Let me know what you think of this topic. What are you or were you nervous about going into surgery? And with that said, goodbye. Have a great day. Mwah.